Hi. So the purpose of this part of our discussion is to explain what is expected of you in the supply chain management simulation, or to rephrase the for the next 20 to 25 minutes, I will explain what this simulation is all about and what steps you should take to make your experience a much more learned experience. So, um, so basically, the first question in terms of how do we attempt this simulation. So, similar to your assignments and the previous simulation, which was related to project management, you will have to log into myomlab.com, or you'll have to log into your Pearson account. From there, you can go to your 339 section. And once you will go there, you will see and once you go there and you click on the assignments, you should be able to see these assignments. And till last week, we only had one simulation, which was the project management simulation. I have now enabled the supply chain management simulation as well. The project management simulation is due this Sunday, while the supply chain management simulation is due the Sunday after the current Sunday. So basically, this is due on the 26th of April. Now, with that said, let me first explain what this simulation is all about, and then we're going to come back to this website, and I am going to click on the simulation and will take you through the initial stages of this simulation. So going back to our simulation, okay. Let me first clear these drawings. Clear all drawings. Okay. So basically, the objective in this simulation is that you have to manage a simple supply chain. If you don't know what a supply chain is, I would highly recommend to first go through the lecture that I uploaded on supply chain management. That lecture goes through the details of what exactly is a supply chain, what do we mean by supply chain management. So once you have gone through that once you have gone through that lecture, come to this part of the lecture, which will guide you through the simulation itself. So moving on, why am I? So what is the task? In this simulation, you are in the role of a supply chain analyst, and basically your role is of a supply chain analyst, and you work for this company, which is AJ Manufacturing. Your customers are one of the customers is this organization, which is Munson and Witt, and they have placed a large order of gizmos with your company. Your job is to find out the best set of suppliers to minimize your costs and deliver the gizmos on time. So in other words, your goal has two different components. You have to deliver 25,000 complete gizmos on time, and you have to keep your costs under $1 million. Now, what exactly is a gizmo? Once you click on the simulation, it will explain what a gizmo is, but very briefly, a gizmo is something like this. You can think of it as a two-part shed or two-part component. It has a top and it has 4 legs. So basically, it has one top. So each complete gizmo consists of one top and 4 legs. So you can think of it as a dining table. So the dining table has a tabletop and 4 legs. They are calling, in this simulation, the top part is called SKU1, and the bottom part is called SKU2. So SKU2, when we say SKU stands for stock keeping unit. So SKU1 is our tabletop. SKU2 is our legs. Now, the target is to complete 25,000 gizmos, which means that you need 25,000 SKU1s, which are the tops. And how many do you need for SKU2? If your answer is 100,000, then that answer is correct. Now, why is it 100,000? Because in order to complete a single gizmo, you need 1 of SKU1 and 4 of SKU2. So that's why you will need 25,000 of SKU1 and 100,000 of SKU2. Now that's your starting point. Now moving on. Let me again clear all the drawings and let me click on this one, and actually let me close the annotation. I think this one is better. I use the pen. Okay, so this is how the interface of the simulation would look like. On the bottom left corner, it will show you the time. So basically Q1 is Q1, Q2 is Q2, Q3, and Q4. Your target in total, as I described on the previous slide, is 25,000 gizmos. You will have to complete 20% of it in the first quarter, another 20% of it in the second quarter, and then 30% in the third quarter, and then another 30% in the fourth quarter. So the total will be 100%. So basically, which means Q1 target is a 20% of 25,000. Q2 target, so 20% of 25,000 is 7,500, if I'm not mistaken. So then the next one is also 7,500 units. Q3 target is 30%. Q4 target is 30% as well. So 30% and 30%. So total comes out to be 100%. And 30% of 25,000 is, let me do the calculation here. So 0.3 times 25,000, that is 7,500. And 20% of 25,000 is 5,000. So let me correct this. I did not do this calculation correctly. And let me go back to the pen. Okay, so the target for the first quarter is 5,000. Second is 5,000. Third is 7,500, and the fourth is 7,500. So total comes out to be 25,000. So this is 7,500 plus 7,500 is 15,000, plus 5 is 20, and plus 5 is 25,000. So in essence, these are your targets for each quarter. Now, what exactly is your task? Your task is that you have to buy these SKUs, SKU1 and SKU2 from different suppliers. And your job is to make sure that in each quarter, you have enough of SKU1 and enough of SKU2 to complete 5,000 gizmos in Q1, then 5,000 in 2, 7,500 in 3, and 7,500 in 4. Now, how do you do that? Let's move on. So just like the previous simulations, it will start from a review of the documents. So basically, when simulation will start, you will need to review all the documents, emails, and messages. This information will give you further background, and I cannot stress this enough. I would highly recommend to go through these because it will give you good background into how to run the simulation. Now, so basically, through the course of the simulation, more messages will appear. They'll keep on appearing, keep on referring to them because they'll keep you informed of the latest developments and if there are any issues that come during the simulation. Now, this is how you will place the request for a bid. Now, what exactly is a bid? Basically, you will have different suppliers for SKU1 and different suppliers for SKU2. So for example, over here, we have SKU1 and we have these suppliers, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you might have 5 suppliers for SKU1 and 3 for SKU2, or 4 and 4, depends on what simulation, depends on what version of the simulation did you get. It's randomly assigned. So basically over here, we have 4 suppliers for SKU1, and then it shows 3 suppliers for SKU2. There will be one more as well. In the beginning, you will ask all the suppliers for quotations, or you will ask them to bid. So basically a quotation is you will ask them how much will you be charging me for each of the unit that you will provide. You'll ask them for these bids, for the bids. Once the quotations start coming in, then you'll have to take a decision in terms of how many units, how much order to give to each of the suppliers. And this is how you will place the actual order. Again, this is something that you will have in the beginning of the simulation as well. I am not going to go into the details of this window as of now, because when I will actually run a small demo of the simulation, I will show you how to place this order. And then basically during the simulation, you can track your performance. There are various different methods of tracking your performance. But this will be the main interface of the simulation. And just like the previous simulations, you have a pause button over here. Whenever you want to pause the simulation, you can just click on this button and the simulation will be paused. At the bottom, you have your basically a tracker. It shows you how many gizmos have you manufactured and which quarter you are in. It will also show you the customer morale, and it will also show you your cost. I would recommend that do not worry about this too much, or do not give a lot of attention to this in the beginning, or even actually throughout the simulation. Focus on this and this. Now, with that said, this is how the simulation interface is for placing an order. Basically, what this actually, let me go to the actual simulation and explain the slide over there. So now, with that said, I'm sure you'll have some questions in your mind. But let me take you to the actual simulation. Let me run a demo, and hopefully, I will be able to answer some of the questions that you already have. So let's move on to our simulation. So basically, as I said, you'll click on supply chain management. You'll click on the simulation supply chain management, and it will take you, I mean, generally it takes anywhere between 30 seconds to a couple of minutes to load, depending upon how much load is there on the server. So I am now waiting for it to load. Excuse me. So as I said, it takes a little bit of time to load. I think we're almost there. If it doesn't load, just go back, click on it again. It should load. Generally, the recommended browsers are Chrome and Firefox. The one that Mac has, the Safari one, that is not the recommended one. But if that's the only option, you can try running it on Safari as well. It should run fine. Okay, so now, as you can see, the simulation is on. Basically, so far it's saying the same thing: deliver 25,000 gizmos and keep your costs under $1 million. Go through this intro. I'm going to start the intro. As I showed you in the slides, it will take you through these steps. Read through them: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 3, step 4, 5, 6, and the last one before we start. And then this is the simulation. Now, it says to start a simulation, review your introductory notification. I don't know whether you have this black tab in front of you. Let me move this down. We move the other tab down as well. Okay, so basically, so I'm assuming that you've gone through your emails, you've gone through your messages. Let me just quickly click on them so that we are at 0. And the simulation would not start till you ask your suppliers for bids. Now, I'm going to click on this button. And over here, it says request bid. The next tab says place orders. These are the two most important tabs in this simulation. And then on top, we have these 4 trackers. Right now it says Gizmo's quarterly goal, quarter 1, 5,000. So the goal or the target is 5,000. So far you have 0, right? The remaining budget, your total budget is $1 million. Right now you have all of it remaining because you have not placed any order. Now, these two are important because they track how many of SKU1 and how many of SKU2 have you received, right? So as I said, you need, in order to deliver entire 25,000, you have to have 25,000 of SKU1 and 100,000 of SKU2. Now, what I would say in the beginning is ask all your suppliers for bids. So I got 3 suppliers for SKU1 and 5 suppliers for SKU2. So I'm asking all of them for bids. I'm clicking on this link. Now, different suppliers have different kind of services. You can just click on this information button and it will show you this is a 4-star supplier, this is a 3-star supplier, this is a 5-star supplier, and similarly we have 2 stars, 3 stars, 2 stars, 4-star, and 4-star. Now, the rating of the suppliers is generally linked to how accurate are they in terms of their timelines and how good or how high or low are their costs. And then you will see it in the bids as well. So basically, right now we've asked everyone for a bid. There is a bidding cost. Just ignore it. It's insignificant as compared to your budget, which is $1 million. So just request bids from all of them, and the simulation would start. Now, essentially what's happening right now is we've asked our suppliers to send us their quotations for SKU1 and SKU2. And we have not placed any order yet, right? So as you can see on the screen, the first quotation has come in. I would urge you to wait for at least a couple of quotations for each of SKU1 and SKU2 before placing an order. So we'll just say wait for more bids. Wait for more bids. And let's just say wait for more bids for one more time. Okay. And then we will click on view bids. So as you can see, we have received 2 bids for SKU1. How do we know it's SKU1? Because it says over here SKU1. And we have received 2 bids for SKU2. Now, so what exactly is the first supplier saying? Let me first turn my... So basically we have this first supplier, which is 6 Sigma Supply. This supplier says that I will charge you $17 if you place an order of 900 or less. If the order quantity goes up, my cost goes down. And the lowest cost of $15 is when you place an order of between 1900 to 7500. The capacity of this supplier, the weekly capacity of this supplier is 310. But if you ask for a rush delivery, it can deliver 370 per week. Now we have another quotation from a second supplier, which is Village Trust Sourcing. It has slightly lower costs, 16, 15, 14, and for different quantities as well. But its weekly capacity is low. It can only deliver 280. Now, similarly, we will go to, if I scroll down. Okay, so I'll have to change to a mouse from a pen. So if you go down, excuse me. Now this over here, again, we have 2 different suppliers. So the first supplier has a cost of 7, 6.5, and 6 per unit, depending upon how many orders you place. And the second supplier has a cost, very similar cost of 7, 6.5, and 6. But the quantities are different. And these suppliers have different capacities. The first supplier, which is Urban Tech, has a capacity of 1,210 units per week. The second one has slightly lower capacity of 1,200 units per week. Now, it's time to place our first order. Let me clear all drawings. So, how do I generally approach this? Or how should you generally approach this? So, for example, if I go by this one, which is our lowest cost one, and I placed an order of, how many do we need in the first quarter? We need a total of 5,000, which means 5,000 of SKU1 and 20,000 of SKU2, which are 4 times that of SKU1. So we need 5,000 of SKU1. Now, if I place an entire order of 5,000, there's a problem. And the problem is that the delivery date for this one is not in the first quarter. You can see the delivery date is 9th of May. And the first quarter ends before April. So the first quarter is January, February, March. So we need this before March. So since we cannot get this before March, we will have to place orders with other suppliers. So you can either place an order of 5,000 with this one, or you can, let's say, you'll say, I'll just place an order of 3,000 with this one right now. And I'll wait for other quotations. If there is a lower quotation, I'll place an order. If not, I'll place an order of, because right now you've only placed an order of 3,000. These 3,000 will be delivered on 21st of March, which is still tight, but let's see. So for SKU2, we need 20,000 in the first quarter. So 20,000 means, again, as I said, if I place 20,000 over to, I cannot place an order of more than 18,000, right? So let's say the 18,000 is the highest order. If I place an order of 18,000, this will come on 25th of April, which is very late. So let's say I'll place an order of 10,000. Wait, actually, why not? Which one is better? This is 2-star. This is, both of them are bad. Okay, let's just place an order of 10,000. Okay, and now you click on place order. As soon as you will place order, you will see, this is a bid that have come in. I'll just ignore it for the time being. You will see that now your orders are have stacked up, and now they will start producing. Your suppliers will start producing the items that you have requested, right? Now, as we are seeing that more bids are coming in, so let's look at view bids. We had 3 for SKU1, so now we have bids from all 3 of them, or we have quotations from all 3 of them, and we had 5 for the second one. One supplier has still not sent its quotation. So, but at least for this one, now we have a comparison. And it seems that this one was the lowest one. So now we have a choice between Six Sigma Supply and Rapid Star Services. So I'm going to look at, this is 3-star, this is 5-star. So I'm just going to place the remaining 2,000 to this one. And this will be delivered on 29th of February. And just to be safe, maybe if this supply, because it's a little tight, maybe I'll place slightly higher order of 2,500. And even a slightly higher of 2,500 would mean that I will, I'll get these on 7th of March. So this is one order that we have placed. We don't need any rush delivery. If you need a rush delivery, click on it. It will deliver it to you. It will deliver a rush order to you. But I think there is an extra cost for a rush delivery. Okay. So now for this one, we have placed, okay. Okay, this is, again, all of them are 2-star, 2-star, 3. Okay, this one, but this one is expensive, right? So I guess we need 10,000 more, but let's just place one order and wait for the 5th supplier to send their bid. So as you can see, right away, the suppliers are having some issues. I'm really sorry to write about blah, 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 but we have this blah, blah, blah. And it's saying either you have an option of canceling your order or continue. I would recommend that if it's not a major problem, just continue with it. We still have not, okay, so the last quotation is in, and as you can clearly see, it's a lower quotation. So let's go to the last one and see, this is by far the lowest one. So let's give them a big order of, what's the limit? Oh, wow, they can do 27,000, and they are pretty decent as well. It's a 4-star company. So let's give them an order of 15,000, and 15,000 is a little late, but that's okay. I mean, let's just say if we give them an order of 10,000, when can they deliver? So 10,000 would mean 28th of March, which is a little tight. But I'm just going to, because the reason why this is, their output is low is because their capacity is low. They only have 990. So we'll just place an order of 15,000 and we'll hope that they deliver it in time. They do not have an option of a rush delivery. So that's why this is not active. And then if anything is wrong, or if we're getting some delays, we can just place small orders with either of these. And we're going to place an order. And now the simulation is running. You can see that basically goods are coming in. Now, let's pause it, and let's go to bids on offer, and let's look at these two. So basically, what this one is showing is that we need a total of 25,000, but in the first quarter we only need 5,000, right? So out of those 5,000 of total gizmos, we have placed order of 5,500 for SKU1, and we've placed an order of 25,000 for SKU2. So we only need 5,000 and 20,000 for the first, and we have received 834. We have received 1422 out of the 25,000 that we have placed, and the complete gizmos is 355. Why is this complete? Because in order to, so you can actually see that 355 times 4 will be roughly this number. And that's why, since this is a little bit late right now, that's why we don't have complete 834. But hopefully, now that we've placed a second order, this will kick in and we'll have more and more supplies coming in. So I'm just going to run it for a little bit of time. And yeah, so now the simulation is running. And okay, so as you can see, the simulation is now running. And yeah, I mean, that's how you keep on proceeding. So basically, as I said, you have 4 quarters. Each quarter has a different target. So, I mean, sometimes you'll face issues from different suppliers. As you can see, the emails are coming in, and you'll have to adapt to the changes. And yeah, I mean, by the end of it, if you have delivered 25,000 complete gizmos and you've kept your cost under $1 million, then it's a success. So let's take an example. What's happening over here? It says we have some quality issues we're trying to sort out, etc., etc. Now you can either continue or you can cancel order. Again, I would recommend that if it's not a huge issue, just continue. So yeah, that's more or less it from my side. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. And I look forward to your questions.